These two movies don't feel like they're in the same universe at all. Spoilers for Army of the Dead and Army of Thieves. Very much in the same vein as something like the Puss in Boots movie, Army of Thieves is a prequel and a spin-off based on Army of the Dead's safecracker, Ludwig Dieter. Speaking of Dieter, I really like the way that this actor portrays the character. He manages to be wimpy without being totally annoying. I know a lot of people probably find him annoying, but I personally don't. I think he walks a fine line between that, and I just really enjoy that overall. In relation to Dieter, I really like the intro competition with all the safecrackers in the beginning of the movie, even though I find it kind of weird that people would actually go out and watch a bunch of people just open more and more complex safes. I can't imagine that being too interesting to watch, but I think it was a great chance for us to see Dieter's skill matched up against other people within his field, basically. And I also thought that the people in the competition were going to come back, like, I don't know, Brad Cage was going to hire the guy that he was competing against in the finals or whatever, but that didn't happen, no biggie, but that's just what I thought was going to happen. Speaking of the side characters in this movie, I thought that the side characters were very poor. They all had just one defining character trait. They were kind of like the side characters in Baby Driver, but a lot less likable. And it was just really annoying to watch them overall. And strangely enough, they all looked like someone else. Like Brad Cage's actor looked like Hugh Jackman. The hacker's actress looked like Selena Gomez. And the guy on Interpol hunting down the crew looked like Lin-Manuel Miranda. And in terms of the romance subplot, I didn't really buy into it. Like, in my heart, I didn't believe it. But logically, I understood why it was there and why Dieter and the main leading girl would get together, because they both kind of have similar interests and they just share a passion for what they're doing, and they see it as art, basically. And that's something else about Ludwig that I really enjoyed, that he just sees what he's doing as art, just as like a piece of craftsmanship that he just envelops himself in. It's very similar to the main character from The Walk, where he was just obsessed with tightrope walking. Dieter is just obsessed with safecracking. He's just masterful at it, and he just appreciates every aspect of it overall. And he also has like super hearing too. And moving on to the actual heist in the movie, I feel like they just weren't that interesting. They just weren't compelling or intricate enough for me to be invested in them. Even though I feel like they should be a highlight of the movie, they just weren't. Instead, what ends up being the highlight of the movie is just Ludwig's love of these safes that he's breaking into. Like the actual safe cracking part of it, not the actual just overall heist in itself. And on the note of those safes, it makes sense that the most complicated one is in Army of Thieves, because Ludwig takes like a good, like he said, 30 minutes to crack that safe. Meanwhile, all these safes, it's pretty quick for him to just open it up. But also, the first three safes look really nice and fancy and intricate. Like, the final safe in Army of Thieves has like, what did he say, like 9 different dials? Meanwhile, the one in Army of the Dead only has like 4, and it looks boring as heck. Mashing those topics together, I think it would be fair to say that this movie is not so much a heist movie, more like something like Indiana Jones or whatever, where it's, you know, Indiana Jones, he steals stuff, yes, but it's not a heist movie. It's more about the treasure, and the main character appreciates like the history of it, and just is not in it for the money. It's just more in it for the glory, and just kind of, you know, just to partake in it all and just take it all in. So would I rewatch Army of Thieves? For now, I'm going to say no, but I'll say yes with a caveat. And that caveat is, if the Army franchise, like Army of the Dead franchise basically, if it becomes bigger, if it gets more installments and it gets more movies in the franchise, I probably would revisit Army of Thieves, because what if some side characters come back, or just what if it connects to other things within the Army franchise? I sort of doubt it, but here's hoping. And it seems like we are getting an Army of the Dead 2, and that could have other spin-offs too. And I could just relish in the fact that this is my favorite Army movies because, side note, I like this movie a lot better than Army of the Dead. But yeah, I know it's kind of like weird logic and it doesn't pertain to the content of the movie itself. That's why I'm giving it a no for now. But, it's kind of like an MCU effect. People rewatch the MCU, but they don't like every single movie in the MCU. Or at least some people don't. So how soon would I rewatch Army of Thieves? Give me like 5 years. No joke. Honestly, like I said, if the franchise builds up and I give it time to marinate, I might appreciate Army of Thieves more. But on an individual scale, I feel like Army of Thieves isn't enough to come back to. But don't get me wrong, on first viewing, it's really enjoyable. It's really fun. It's really funny. I laughed at a few parts. I enjoyed a lot of it. And I think the main draw is Dieter, because he's really likable, and he's kind of an underdog, but he's also insanely good at what he does, and that makes him very interesting to watch. But overall, like I said, it's if you should rewatch the movie, and I would say no, unless it's been a long time since you've watched it, and you're just like, maybe I want to revisit this because Dieter's dead, so I want to see more of him. So that'll do it for my Army of Thieves review. Like and subscribe with notifications on. Comment what you thought about the movie. Comment if you like Army of the Dead. Are you compelled to watch Army of Thieves even if you did or didn't like Army of the Dead? Honestly, Army of the Dead is not necessary at all to watch Army of Thieves. I'm seeing people say you have to watch Army of the Dead to understand Army of Thieves, but that's not true at all. There is a very minuscule C-plot about zombies in Army of Thieves, but I'm pretty sure it's just an excuse for Dieter to come over to the United States at the end of the movie, but otherwise it's not necessary, so go ahead and watch it. They're, like I said in the beginning of the video, they're completely different movies, okay? So give it a try if you didn't like Army of the Dead, and follow me for the next video. I'll see y'all later. Bye.